v.I. Lenin. The Chkheidze faction and its role. Published in Sbornik Sotsial-Demokrata No. 2, December 1916. Signed, N. Lenin. Published according to the Sbornik text. Source, Lenin Collected Works, Progress Publishers, 1964, Moscow, Volume 23, pages 171–174. We have maintained all along that Messrs. Chkheidze and Company do not represent the social democratic proletariat, and that a genuine social democratic Labour Party will never be reconciled or united with this faction. Our contention was based on the following incontrovertible facts. 1. Chkheidze's Save the Country formula does not in substance differ from defensism. 2. The Chkheidze faction has never opposed Mr. Portesov and co., not even when Martov did. 3. The decisive fact, the faction has never opposed participation in the war industries committees. Nobody has attempted to deny these facts. Chkheidze's adherents simply evade them. The pressure of facts has increasingly compelled Nash, Slovo and Trotsky, who reproach us for our factionalism, to take up the struggle against the OC and Chkheidze. The trouble, however, is that it was only under pressure of our criticism and the criticism of the facts that the Nash-Slovo supporters retreated from position to position, but they have not yet said the decisive word. Unity or a split with the Chkheidze faction? They are still afraid to decide. Number 1 of the Bulletin of the Bund Committee Abroad, September 1916, contains a letter from Petrograd dated February 26, 1916. It is a valuable document and fully confirms our view. Its author declares unequivocally that there is a definite crisis in the Menshevik camp itself, and what is particularly characteristic, he says nothing about the Mensheviks opposed to participation in the war industries committees. He has not seen or heard of them in Russia. 3 out of the 5 members of the Chkheidze faction, he writes, are opposed to the defensist position, like the Zero C, and 2 are in favor of it. Those who serve the faction, he writes, are unable to shift the majority from the position it has taken. The local initiating group, footnote 2, which rejects the defensist position, comes to the aid of the faction majority. Those who serve the faction are liberal intellectuals of the type of Portesov, Maslov, Orthodox, footnote 3, and co., who call themselves Social Democrats. Our repeated assertions that this group of intellectuals is a hotbed of opportunism and of liberal labor politics have now been confirmed by a Bundist. He writes further, life, and not Purishkevich and Gutchkov, has brought to the fore a new organ, the workers' group, which is more and more becoming the center of the labor movement. The writer means the Gutchkov, or, to use an older term, the Stolypin labor movement. He recognizes no other. A compromise was reached in the elections to the workers' group, not defense and self-defense, but salvation of the country, by which something broader was implied. This is how a Bundist exposes Chkheidze and Martov's lies about him. At the election of the Gutchkov gang, Gvozdyov, Bredo, etc., to the war industries committees, Chkheidze and the Zero C entered into a compromise. The Chkheidze formula is a compromise with the Portesovs and the Gvozdyovs. Martov concealed and is now concealing this. The compromise did not end there. The policy statement was also drawn up on the basis of a compromise, which the Bundist characterizes in this way. Definiteness disappeared. The representatives of the faction majority and of the initiating group were dissatisfied because, after all, the statement is a big step towards formulation of a defensist position. In essence, the compromise is the position of German social democracy, in application to Russia. So writes a Bundist. Clear enough, it would seem. There is a party, that of the OC, Chkheidze and Portesov. Within it there are 2 contending wings, they come to an agreement, they compromise and remain in one party. The compromise is concluded on the basis of participation in the war industries committees. The only point of disagreement is how to formulate the motives, i.e., how to dupe the workers. As a result of the compromise we have, in essence, the position of German social democracy. Well, were we not right when we said that the OC party was social chauvinist, that, as a party, the OC and Chkheidze were the same as the Sudetens in Germany? Even a Bundist is compelled to admit their identity with the Sudetens. Neither Chkheidze and co., nor the OC have ever expressed opposition to the compromise, although they are dissatisfied with it. That was the position in February 1916. In April 1916, Martov appeared in Kental with a mandate from the initiating group to represent the whole OC, the OC in general. Is this not deceiving the International? And see what we have now? Portesov, Maslov and Orthodox establish their own organ, Delo, footnote 4, which is openly defensist. They invite Plekhanov to contribute. They enlist Messrs. Dmitrov, Shravinin, Mifsky, G. Petrovich, etc., the whole crowd of intellectuals who were formerly the mainstay of liquidationism. What I said on behalf of the Bolsheviks in May 1910, discussion Listok, footnote 5, about the final consolidation of the independent legalists group, footnote 1, has been fully confirmed. Delo takes up a brazenly chauvinist and reformist position. See how Orthodox falsifies Marx and by misquoting him makes him appear to be an ally of Hindenburg, all on philosophical grounds, mind you. How Mr. Masby, especially in Delo number 2, champions reformism all along the line. How Mr. Portesov accuses Axelrod and Martov of maximalism and anarcho-syndicalism. How the magazine generally tries to palm off advocacy of defense as the cause of democracy while modestly evading the unpleasant question as to whether or not this reactionary war is being waged by Tsarism for a predatory purpose, for throttling Galicia, Armenia, etc. The Chkheidze faction and the OC are silent. Skobelev sends greetings to the Liebknechts of all countries. The real Liebknecht has ruthlessly exposed and condemned his own Sidmans and Kautskyites, whereas Skobelev remains in permanent harmony and friendship with the Russian Sidmans, Portesov and co., Chkheidze, et al., and with the Russian Kautskyites, Axelrod et al. On behalf of himself and of his friends abroad, Martov announces in Gelos, footnote 6, number 2, Samara, September 20, 1916, a refusal to contribute to Delo, but at the same time he whitewashes Chkheidze. At the same time, Izvestia number 6, September 12, 1916, he asserts that he has parted with Trotsky and Nash Slova because of the Trotsky idea of repudiating the bourgeois revolution in Russia. But everybody knows that this is a lie. That Martov left Nash Slovo because the latter could not tolerate Martov's whitewashing of the OC in the same as Vestia. Martov defends his deception of the German public, which even roused the indignation of Roland Holst. He published a pamphlet in German from which he omitted the very part of the Petrograd and Moscow Mensheviks' policy statement in which they announced their willingness to participate in the war industries committees. Footnote 7. Recall the controversy between Trotsky and Martov in Nash Slovo prior to the latter's resignation from the editorial board. Martov reproached Trotsky for not having made up his mind whether or not he would follow Kautsky at the decisive moment. Trotsky retorted that Martov was playing the part of a bait, a decoy, trying to entice the revolutionary workers into the opportunist and chauvinist party of the Portesovs, then the OC, etc. Both sides repeated our arguments. And both were right. However much the truth about Chkheidze and company may be concealed, it will come to light. Chkheidze's role is to compromise with the Portesovs, to camouflage opportunist and chauvinist politics by vague near-left phrases. And Martov's role is to whitewash Chkheidze. Notes. 1. Lenin's note. 2. The initiating groups were formed by the Menshevik liquidators from the end of 1910 onwards as a counterweight to the illegal party organizations. They were meant to be the nuclei of a new, broad legal party, functioning within the framework of the June 3, Stolypin regime. The liquidators succeeded in forming initiating groups in St. Petersburg, Moscow, Ekaterininoslav and Konstantinovka, Donetsk coalfield, in the shape of small groups of intellectuals dissociated from the working class. In the First World War they followed a social chauvinist policy. 3. Orthodox, the pen name of Lubov Axelrod, a Menshevik. 4. Delo, the Cause, a fortnightly Menshevik magazine published in Moscow from August 1916 to January 1917 under the editorship of A.N. Portesov, P.P. Maslov and Lubov Axelrod, Orthodox. 10 issues, including 3 double issues, appeared in 1916 and 1 issue in 1917. The magazine followed a chauvinist policy. 5. Discussion Listok, Discussion Bulletin, a supplement to the RSDLP central organ. Sotsial-Demokrata, published in Paris from March 6, 1910 to April 29, May 12, 1911. 3 issues appeared. The editorial board was composed of representatives of the Bolsheviks, Mensheviks, Ultimatumists, Bundists, Plekhaноvites and of the Polish and Latvian social democratic organizations. 6. Belows, Voice, a Menshevik social chauvinist newspaper published in Samara in 1916, continuer of the Menshevik papers Nash Gales, Our Voice, and Glostruda, Voice of Labor. Altogether 4 issues appeared. 7. References to the Menshevik pamphlet Kriegs- und Friedensproblem der Arbeiterklasse, War and Peace Issues Facing the Working Class, a reprint of the draft resolutions and manifesto of the Second Zimmerwald Conference on the Tasks of the Proletariat in the Struggle for Peace, submitted to the conference by P. Axelrod, S. Lapinski and L. Martov.